A few weeks ago, we did a top 10 mock draft where we basically just took the top 10 picks and we did a mock draft. Fairly simple concept. We figured, hey, let's try it out again. The last time, Shane, you had the odds, I had the evens. We're going to flip that this time, which means I get to have the first pick this go around. But oddly enough, we get to do both of Chicago's picks like you did the last time as well, as that works out. So with that being said, Shane, are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Some different teams this go around than the last time we had, so that's always fun. But we're going to start here with this top 10 mock draft. Pick one, Chicago Bears. They get this pick from Carolina because they're terrible. They're 1-11 and have lost 5 games in a row. But Chicago has the pick. If they've got this pick and they're still picking in the top 5 like they are, you have to think Justin Fields' time is done as the head man or as the lead charge there at quarterback. I don't like this as a slam dunk as much as I did the last time we did this exercise, but I still think it's Caleb Williams when it's all said and done, the quarterback from Southern Cal is the number 1 pick in the draft.
I mean, he's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft. The question's just, are the Bears going to pick at the number 1 pick in the draft? Like, if they're here and do want to keep Justin Fields, then they can trade. I mean, there's definitely some rumors that we could see the Bears brass change again very quickly here and try to move to, a different direction. So I tend to think they'll pick Caleb Williams. I think passing up, a franchise quick this, it would just be dumb. It'd just be dumb for them to move down again for the second year in a row. You already have it, but just go get the guy.
And you can always move back on from 5 and pick up more picks. You're probably going to get a handful of picks for Fields when you move him, right? So you're going to have plenty of ammunition, I think, and potentially more if you want it. Just take the guy at 1 and deal off of 5 or whatever and deal Fields and get what you're going to get.
Like I said, I think the main question is, is Ryan Poles still the GM? Is Luke Getsy still the head coach? Or you say, this is a perfect time to go fresh again, and just sucks they didn't get much of an opportunity, but it might be the perfect time to do it.
All right. Did not think that we would be sitting here at pick 2 New England Patriots the last time we did this exercise, Shane, but that's where you are, the 2-10 New England Patriots, losers of 5 in a row, coming off a nice 6-0 defeat at the hands of the Los Angeles Chargers, which is just bad in itself. But where is New England looking here at 2?
I mean, they're going to take quarterback. If they're picking at 2, you're going to take a quarterback here. They benched Mac Jones for Bailey Zappi, who, couldn't score a point. So they clearly don't believe in Mac Jones. Whether Bill Belichick is still the head coach of the New England Patriots or not, you're taking a quarterback at 2. This might look bad even a couple months. I don't think it's a slam dunk of who that quarterback is at 2.
I completely agree with where your mind's at here.
Like, I think we propped up Drake Bay before the season. We had the articles. Is he better than Caleb Williams? Drake Bay's still going to go in the top 5 of this draft. He's still very good. But, I mean, Jaden Daniels possibly had the greatest college football season ever. It is some of the advanced metrics of what Jaden Daniels did at LSU this year is bonkers. And so if you bring in, let's say Bill Belichick's gone, he leaves, he goes to the Chargers, and you bring in a new head coach, you bring in a new system, and they see the potential for Lamar Jackson to be on their team. I think you take that over a little more raw, younger Drake May. So I'm going to take Jaden Daniels, quarterback at LSU here at pick 2 to the New England Patriots.
This was crazy a month ago. You're right. I don't think it's crazy anymore, and I'm with you. I moved in my top 200 this week. Jaden Daniels ahead of Drake May. I moved him up to QB2 this week.
Yeah.
So I'm there. I'm fully on board with this pick. And like you said, I don't think it's the Belichick regime making this pick either. So that in itself is interesting. Wild times in the NFL. That brings me up now to pick 3 in the Arizona Cardinals, and I'm okay with Kyler Murray, I guess. Plus, we got a big contract there anyway, so I don't think we're looking in the QB direction here. So let's get the next Larry Fitzgerald in the desert, right? That's kind of where we're at. I don't see this pick going any other way with the way this board's falling. I think Arizona easily runs the card up for Marvin Harrison Jr.
I tend to agree. I think the only thing that could hold me back, is a top 3 pick at receiver is very rare. And is Marvin Harrison Jr. worth that, right? Over, Arizona kind of has this perfect situation of you drafted your franchise offensive tackle last year in Paris Johnson. You have Kyler Murray, like you said. So it's really, you draft a pass rusher or you take a receiver. I tend to think Marvin Harrison Jr. is worth this pick here.
Yeah, and yes, it is rare, but just with this 3rd overall pick, the guy I mentioned before, that's where Larry Fitzgerald came off the board at 3. And what's the difference, 3 or 4 here? AJ Green, who I see a lot of comps for Marvin Harrison Jr., comp to AJ Green, pick 4. Pick position here is not, I mean, I get that it rarely happens, but I think you just take the talent here. And like you said, they've got the offensive tackle already. Yes, they need a pass rusher, but that is a depthful position in this class, and you've got another first-round pick here as well, right? So we won't get that far down in the first round, but Arizona does have Houston's first-round pick.
Right. Now, the other question is they could move down from 3. I think it's going to be a prime spot for that 3rd quarterback.
Right.
I think there is a big drop-off. So.
Right. Well, especially with teams like the Giants, Tennessee, New Orleans, who we know will damn well trade up with anybody for anything. Their price of trading is not what everybody else's is. All right, Shane, now you're up now with pick 4 and the Washington Commanders. Our guy, draft guy Jimmy, big Commanders guy, says they better get one of these tackles, Shane.
Oh, it's a tough choice here for the Commanders. I don't think Ron Rivera is the coach. I think that's been setting up for a long time. I think what might determine this pick and where we're at in our mock is does Eric Bieniemy just move up to head coach? I think, to me, it's my conspiracy theory. That's been what's been brewing this whole time. The offense for the Commanders has overperformed expectations. The defense is really, really bad. So if that's the case, then I think Jimmy's right. I think offensive tackle makes a lot of sense. If they bring in someone from the outside, I don't think a new head coach is going to look at Sam Howell and say, yep, that's my guy. Let me ride or die with Sam Howell. I think Sam Howell is a starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback in the NFL. And so if you're picking a 4, I don't think you can pass on the quarterback. So I'm taking Drake May, the quarterback in North Carolina here. If you're Washington, you could take an offensive tackle in round 2. You could trade back into the 1st. It's a pretty good offensive tackle class, but you're not getting a quarterback like Drake May anywhere else in this draft. And the Commanders have needed that quarterback position for a pretty long time here.
Yep. So there you go. Well, now, so that brings me around to pick 5 again, and the Chicago Bears with their own pick. And we discussed them, maybe they move back down off this pick, to get other picks or whatever. But for this exercise, we're not going with that. They traded for Montez Sweat at the deadline and extended him. So I don't know if that eliminates their need for a pass rusher, because you can always have more pass rushers, but I don't think that's where they go here. I do think that with the offensive tackle sitting on the board, that is the play here. And I'm just going to go with Penn State's offensive tackle, Olu Fashanu, who is my number 1 offensive tackle as the guy for the Bears here.
Yeah, it's a good pick. Once again, I think if Ryan Poles is the GM, maybe he doesn't pull the trigger here and sticks with Braxton Jones. But if they clean house, I don't think he'll look at Braxton Jones and think this guy's, protecting Caleb Williams' blind side, well. So I'm with you.
Yep. So I'm with you. I don't mind. Braxton Jones is not a bad player, but he's not near the level that Fashanu is, or Joe Alt, for that matter, or hell, some of these other guys that could be first-round offensive tackles. All right, Shane, New York Jets here, and what a mess going on with that team right now. Basically begging Zach Wilson to come be the quarterback again. It's gotten sad here in New York. What do the Jets do here? Because we're out of quarterbacks. So,
Well, that's coming back, baby. The Jets could go from a top 10 team to a contender. Yeah, I wonder if Robert Saleh thought we could kind of tank, start Tim Boyle, and then they started to be so bad that it's like, man, I might get
I
fired.
might get fired.
Zach, I think it's an easy pick here for the Jets. I think it's Joe Alt, the offensive tackle out of Notre Dame. I mean, the offensive line is horrible. We pegged them to take a tackle last year. The Steelers traded ahead of them for Broderick Jones. You can't tell me that the Jets weren't going to take him if he was there. They still need an offensive tackle. I think Alt is the safest offensive tackle pick you can make in this draft to have a 10-year career.
Yep, no doubt about it. I am at a loss here with the Giants because the board has not been kind here, right? To what we're needing. And I honestly just don't know where to go. There's not a whole lot. There's not a quarterback value here, right? And they need a quarterback, but I'm not drafting Bo Nix or Michael Penix at pick 7. It's not going to do it. I've got a first round tackle last year in Evan Neal. I've got Andrew Thomas. So offensive tackle is not a need here. Is wide receiver 2 worth here? Probably. But who is wide receiver 2? That's where I'm going to land here because we've also got pass rushers we've drafted recently as well. And I think these guys are falling whether they should or not. But that's where I'm going to end up with a wide receiver here, maybe a little earlier than I thought. And I'm going to go with Malik Neighbors, the big, fast wide receiver out of LSU. He's quite chase-ish here this season.
I think he's closer to Marvin Harrison than he is the wide receiver 3. I think Malik Neighbors is a top 10 pick, and I think it's a great pick for the Giants who, shades of Odell Beckham, honestly, and how Malik Neighbors plays. And I think he'd be right at home on that team.
But do you agree that the board did not necessarily fall the way the Giants might have wanted it?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great to have a quarterback there, but you're not going to get one at 7. Sorry, they won too many meaningless games. If they win one more, they're probably out of the quarterback.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought when they started Tommy DeVito that they were heading in that they were in the tank mode, but blows my mind. Anyway, right. Pick 8, the Tennessee Titans now. Will Levis is who he is. That's about. But again, we're not replacing Will Levis here at pick 8. So where are the Titans looking here, Shane?
I think it's definitely going to be on the defensive side of the ball. I mean they could use offensive line help, but have kind of pieced together. It took Peter Skronsky last year that pieced together a decent offensive line. Jalen Duncan, our boy, 6th-round pick, turned in a pretty good performance here at left tackle. Yeah, I mean with Neighbors gone, I don't think receiver's an option. So we're going to go defense. I'm really between 2 players. I think one's a better value. I think Dallas Turner's off the board by now, the edge rusher out of Alabama. I don't know to who, because I don't think we made a bad pick here. I don't think either of us have. It's just how the board fell. I also think Jazon Newton makes a lot of sense at that nose tackle position for them. They do have Jeffrey Simmons. So, the pass rushers are decent. I mean, Harold Landry and Arden Key they brought in. But Rashad Weaver. But I'm going to take Dallas Turner here. I just don't think he should fall anymore. I think it gives us some flexibility on the right outside linebacker position. Turner's good at standing up. He's a great fit for the defense. I think Mike Vrabel's going to like him a lot. So I'm going to go with Turner here.
He's very good, man. This is going to be a very good edge group with him, a guy that's fixing to come off the board at 9, and another guy that I really like. But that brings us here to the New Orleans Saints, pick 9, and this team is in perpetual cap hell as they always are. They're stuck with Derek Carr at quarterback, whether they like it or not. Their receiver room outside of Chris Olave probably needs some overhaul. They are getting some good snaps out of A.T. Perry, and Rashid Shaheed has gone above and beyond what he should have been. They constantly looking for a pass rush here. They took Peyton Turner in the first round a few years ago. I love Peyton Turner, but he can't stay healthy. Been hurt pretty much his entire career. They tried it with Marcus Davenport, same thing. Cam Jordan, who's never hurt, but is just old, right? So we've got to get some extra pass rush here. And because of the injury history that we know about Latu, despite that I think he's the best overall edge rusher in this class, I think the Saints will pass on him and go with the guy who I don't know anybody's watched the last two Florida State games, but Jared Verse is just all kinds of animal. And that speed to power that Verse has will fit into New Orleans excellently here. And I think that's where the Saints end up here. Florida State edge rusher Jared Verse.
He kind of feels like a Saints player in pick, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That makes a lot of sense to me. So I do like the fit. I think him, Dallas Turner, and Leitu Latu are all super close together. I think it's going to be team preference and fit of who goes first and who goes third.
And like I said, there's other guys that are going to go later in the first round that are going to have instant impacts in the NFL. This is a very good edge group, especially at the top. Rounding out the top 10 here, Shane, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and close us out.
I mean, Tampa's in a tough spot too. They're just too good of a team. You don't have a quarterback here worth taking, and you're probably stuck with Baker Mayfield for another year. It's nothing that looks awful. It's just not a great, a great team without the quarterback at the helm that can put up points. So I'm going to go to the defensive side. I mean, the secondary for the Buccaneers has just been awful for a long time. I do think it's a little more difficult in terms of what corner goes first. So I'm going to stick with who I think both of us have had as our top corner for a while. I'm going to go with Kool-Aid McKinstry, the corner out of Alabama. But if you told me Quinn Mitchell from Toledo, went here, or Terrion Arnold went here, like, in April, I wouldn't be shocked. Nate Wiggins, name a corner name. I think they could rise to this area. But I think just Kool-Aid McKinstry is going to have the athleticism. He has some of the special teams ability. And, teams just stopped throwing to him. They threw to Terrion Arnold. We talked about it last week. I still think teams going to like McKinstry plenty.
There you go. So that's our top 10 mock draft for the week. We'll recap quickly here. Pick 1, the Chicago Bears by way of Carolina select Caleb Williams, quarterback Southern Cal. New England selects Jaden Daniels, quarterback LSU. Arizona selects Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver Ohio State. Washington selects Drake May, quarterback North Carolina. Chicago, with their own pick, selects Olu Fashanu, offensive tackle Penn State. The Jets select Joe Alt, offensive tackle Notre Dame. The Giants take Malik Neighbors, wide receiver LSU. Tennessee takes Dallas Turner, edge rusher Alabama. New Orleans takes Jared Verse, edge rusher Florida State. And rounding out the top 10, Tampa Bay selects Kool-Aid McKinstry, cornerback Alabama. And that is our top 10 mock draft.